If you're like most people who think becoming wealthy is all about luck or becoming a trust fund baby, you're gonna wanna watch this entire video. Because the fact is, most broke people live this way simply because they follow the wrong set of money rules. Rules designed to keep them comfortable, but never rich. Meanwhile, the rich are quietly playing by an entirely different rulebook. They're not working harder than you. They're not smarter than you. Half the time, they're not even trying that hard. But they've learned 10 wealth principles that turn average people into millionaires. And today, you're about to learn them too. By the end of this video, you'll not only know the exact principles that create wealth, but you'll also realize why your old money habits were keeping you trapped in financial quicksand. Let's start with the first principle, the one every rich person masters before they ever touch a dollar. Principle number 1, pay yourself first, before anyone else touches your money. Here's a little reality check for you guys. Every time you get paid, you're first in line to pay everyone but yourself. Rent, bills, Netflix, Uber Eats, because you're too tired to cook. By the end of the month, you're lucky if you've got $3.47 left in your account and some pocket lint. Rich people flip the script. They pay themselves first. That means before the landlord, before Amazon Prime, before your overpriced iced latte from Starbucks. They take a chunk of their income and lock it away in savings or investments. Why? Because if you don't prioritize your money, nobody else will. And it's not about being disciplined, it's about automation. The wealthy make saving automatic, like brushing your teeth. They don't rely on willpower. Because let's be real, willpower is about as reliable as your friend who swears they'll pay you back on payday. And here's the crazy part. Even if you start with just 10%, you'll adjust. Humans are wired to survive on what's left. You'd be surprised how fast you can cut costs when you've already secured your bag. Let's imagine you make $3,000 a month. Most people spend all $3,000 and maybe, just maybe, save what's left. A wealthy person takes $300 off the top, puts it in investments, and lives on $2,700. Over time, that $300 starts compounding into serious money. That's how average salaries quietly build millionaire bank accounts. But paying yourself first is only the start, because what you do with that money matters just as much. Which brings us to the second wealth principle, one that exposes why most people end up broke, even if they earn 6 figures. Principle number 2, understand the difference between assets and liabilities. Here's the sneaky reason why so many people stay broke. They think they're buying assets, when in reality, they're just collecting expensive bills in disguise. That car you financed? Liability. The mansion you couldn't afford but convinced yourself was an investment? Liability. Even that $2,000 MacBook you justified as a business expense while binge-watching Netflix in 4K? Liability. An asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out. It's really that simple. The wealthy obsess over stacking assets, rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, online businesses, intellectual property, things that make money while they sleep. Meanwhile, average folks, they're drowning in liabilities they thought made them look rich. The guy flexing the new BMW with leather seats is usually sweating over his $900 monthly payment. Meanwhile, the quiet guy driving a 10-year-old Honda Civic, he might own 3 rental properties and be making passive income while eating tacos at Taco Bell. Like, remember that neighbor who always has the newest iPhone the day it comes out? That's a $1,200 liability in their pocket. Meanwhile, someone else buys $1,200 worth of Apple stock every year. 10 years later, the first guy has a drawer full of outdated phones, and the second guy has stock worth tens of thousands. Now here's where it gets wild. Even if you start stacking assets, there's one rule you cannot ignore, and it's the difference between being comfortable and being wealthy. Let's talk about principle number 3. Principle number 3, leverage the power of compound interest. All right, look, I need to address something real quick, so pay attention. If there's one thing that separates the rich from the broke, it's this. The rich understand time is money. Literally. Albert Einstein, yeah, the crazy hair guy, once called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. And he was right. It's the quiet, invisible force that turns small, boring investments into mountains of wealth over time. Here's how it works. When you invest money, it earns interest. That interest then earns its own interest, over and over. Like a snowball rolling down a hill, it keeps getting bigger and faster, until one day, you've got an avalanche of cash. Here's an example. Let's say you invest $500 a month at an average 8% annual return. After 10 years, you've got about $91,000. Sounds good, right? But after 20 years, that's $274,000. After 30 years, it's $745,000. And by 40 years, you're sitting on almost $2 million, just from letting time and compound interest do the heavy lifting. Meanwhile, the person who said, "I'll start investing when I make more money," is still broke at 50, wondering why their savings account is basically monopoly money. It's like that friend who always says, "I'll start going to the gym next Monday," then it's next month, then next year. By the time dude actually shows up, he's 3 seasons behind on Netflix and his health. Money works the same way. Start early, even if it's small, and let compound interest bulk up your bank account. But listen closely. Compound interest only works if you follow the next principle. And this one, it's the money law that quietly separates the financially free from the paycheck to paycheck crowd. Principle number 4, live below your means, so you can invest above your means later. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. If you're trying to look rich before you actually are rich, congratulations. You've just bought yourself a one-way ticket to Brokeville. Wealthy people understand this golden rule. You don't build wealth by flexing it. You build it by quietly stacking while everyone else is busy showing off. Ever notice how the guy rocking Gucci slides, eating out every night, and posting "living my best life" on Instagram is always the same guy asking to borrow $40 until payday? Meanwhile, the boring girl who still uses a cracked iPhone and drives a 2008 Toyota Corolla? She's probably sitting on a fat savings account, investing 30% of her income, and laughing her way to financial freedom. Living below your means doesn't mean living miserably. It means trimming the fat on things that don't bring real value so you can put your money toward investments that grow. Skip the $6 latte every day and watch how $180 a month in Starbucks money turns into over $100,000 in 20 years if invested. The wealthy delay gratification. They know sacrificing a little flash now buys them the ability to never worry about money later. But here's the thing. Living below your means won't help you if you don't also master this next principle. The principle that makes or breaks fortunes in silence. Principle number 5. Master the art of multiple income streams. Pay attention to what I'm about to say. If your only source of income is your job, you're basically walking on a financial tightrope with no safety net. One slip, a layoff, a recession, a bad boss, and boom, you're free falling into debt. Wealthy people? They don't gamble on just one paycheck. They create multiple streams of income. Think of it like building a river system. One stream might dry up, but the others keep the water flowing. Examples of income streams. Active income. Your job, freelancing, high income skills. Passive income. Dividends, real estate, royalties. Side hustles. YouTube, online courses, digital assets. Investments, stocks, index funds, bonds. Think about celebrities who go broke. Why? Because their entire fortune depends on one income stream, their career. Once the spotlight fades, so does the money. Meanwhile, someone like Shaquille O'Neal, retired from basketball, but owns hundreds of businesses, franchises, and investments. The man makes more money after retirement than most athletes ever did in their careers. And it's not just for millionaires. The average person can start with small side hustles, build a digital product, rent out a spare room, start investing in dividend stocks. Each stream might look small at first, but over time, they add up to financial security. Think of it like your phone battery. If you only rely on 1 bar of battery life, you're panicking all day, searching for a charger. But if you've got 3 backup power banks, you're chilling while everyone else is desperately begging the bartender to plug in their phone. Now, having multiple income streams sounds amazing. But if you don't master this next principle, all that extra money will still slip right through your fingers. Principle number 6. Control your emotions around money. Here's the cold reality. Most people aren't broke because of math. They're broke because of psychology. And I need you to understand this clearly. Money is emotional. It makes you feel safe, powerful, stressed, guilty, sometimes all in the same day. And if you let your emotions drive your money decisions, congratulations, you are now the proud owner of regret. I once knew a guy who panic sold his stocks in March 2020 when the market crashed. He protected his money by selling low. Meanwhile, the wealthy who stayed calm or even bought more doubled their wealth when the market bounced back. Same storm, different reaction. Or look at emotional spending. You had a bad day, so suddenly a $400 shopping spree on sneakers feels like therapy. Except 3 weeks later, you're stressed again. This time because the credit card bill looks like it was written by a loan shark. The wealthy don't let feelings dictate financial moves. They rely on principles, systems, and long-term thinking. They know fear and greed are the two most expensive emotions on earth. It's like drunk texting your ex. In the moment, it feels good. But when you wake up the next morning, you realize you just set yourself back 6 months. Emotional money decisions are the same thing, except now you're drunk texting Visa and MasterCard. But here's the twist. Even if you control your emotions, it won't matter if you don't master the skill that turns average paychecks into millionaire portfolios. And that's where principle number 7 comes in. Principle number 7, invest in financial education because ignorance is expensive. Here's a fun fact. The average American spends over 2,000 hours a year working for money, but less than 10 hours a year learning how money actually works. No wonder most people end up broke. They're playing a game they never studied. The wealthy? They treat financial education like oxygen. They read books, listen to podcasts, hire mentors, take courses, and study money the way athletes study their sport, because they know ignorance is way more expensive than education. Take billionaire investor Warren Buffett, for example. The guy still spends 5 to 6 hours a day reading. Why? Because he knows one idea, one insight, one shift in thinking can add billions to his portfolio. Meanwhile, average folks are spending those same 5 hours arguing with strangers on Twitter about pineapple pizza. And before you say, I don't have time to learn finance, let's be real. You had time to binge 10 hours of Stranger Things last weekend. You have time. You're just choosing entertainment over education. And that choice shows up in your bank account. Just think about when you file taxes every year. The wealthy know how to legally minimize taxes using corporations, deductions, and investments. The average person? They just complain every April while the IRS takes a bigger cut than Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. And that leads us straight into the next principle. Because knowing about money is great, but unless you use this next strategy, your knowledge won't build wealth. Principle number 8, use leverage. The smart kind, not the dumb kind. Here's the truth. You will never get rich by trading only your own time and money. Why? Because there's a ceiling. You've only got 24 hours in a day, and unless you discover cloning technology, you can't work 10 full-time jobs at once. The wealthy know this, so they use leverage. And I don't just mean debt, I mean all 4 types of leverage. Money leverage, using other people's money, banks, investors, to buy assets that make more money. Time leverage, paying others to do things for you so you can focus on higher value tasks. Technology leverage, creating systems, software, or content that works 24/7, even while you sleep. Network leverage, building connections, so opportunities flow to you without begging for them. Think about YouTube itself. You make a video once, upload it, and it can earn money for years. That's leverage. Compare that to a 9-to-5. You stop working, you stop earning. See the difference? Watch this. Using a credit card to buy $800 Jordans you can't afford. That's not leverage. That's self-sabotage. The wealthy borrow money to buy assets. The broke borrow money to buy liabilities. But leverage alone won't save you if you don't follow this next wealth principle. Because without it, your empire is one accident, one lawsuit, or one disaster away from crumbling. Principle number 9, protect your wealth before you flex it. This one's not sexy, but it's essential. Most people think building wealth is all about offense, making more money. But the rich know defense wins championships. That means insurance. That means diversification. That means not putting all your eggs in one basket just because you like the color of the basket. You remember legendary boxer Mike Tyson? At one point, he earned over $300 million in his career. You know where most of it went? Gone. Lawsuits, bad spending, poor planning, no protection. On the flip side, look at someone like Mark Cuban. Billionaire, former owner of the Dallas Mavericks, invests like crazy, but he keeps plenty of cash on the sidelines in case of emergencies. He plays defense as much as offense. It's almost like building a mansion, but forgetting to buy a lock for the front door. One burglary and poof, all that hard work is gone. Wealth without protection is like leaving your phone in the bathroom stall and hoping it'll still be there when you come back. Here are some real-life moves to protect wealth. Emergency funds, so one car repair doesn't wreck your finances. Health and life insurance, because medical bills bankrupt more people than bad business deals. Diversification, so one failed investment doesn't wipe you out. Trusts, LLCs, and smart tax structures. The wealthy don't just build wealth, they shield it. And now we arrive at the final principle, the one that ties all the others together. Without this, none of the previous 9 will stick. But with it, you become unstoppable. Principle number 10, think long-term, act daily. Now here's the mic drop principle that most people completely miss. Wealth isn't built by lottery tickets, crypto moonshots, or hoping your boss gives you a raise. Wealth is built by thinking long-term, while stacking small wins every single day. The wealthy aren't playing checkers, they're playing chess. Every move they make is part of a bigger game plan. Average people chase quick money. Rich people build forever money. Think about it. Your broke cousin who bought Dogecoin because it's going to the moon isn't rich. But the quiet guy who consistently invested in boring index funds every month for 20 years, he's a millionaire and probably too busy golfing to care about meme coins. A guy like Jeff Bezos didn't become the richest man on earth because Amazon crushed it in 1 year. He lost money for over a decade building infrastructure, reinvesting, and focusing on the 20-year payoff. Most people can't even wait 20 minutes for DoorDash without getting hangry. That's why they stay broke. Long-term thinking forces patience. Daily action forces progress. Combine the two, you're unstoppable. Whether it's saving 10%, investing monthly, learning every week, or building multiple streams of income, the small habits compound into massive wealth. Here's the formula. Patience plus consistency equals riches. Not sexy, but it works every time. Now, here's the real test. Most people will hear these 10 money principles and say, yeah, that makes sense, then go back to scrolling TikTok. But a tiny few, the ones who actually apply them, will wake up 10 years from now quietly wealthy while everyone else is still stuck in the same cycle. The truth is, becoming rich isn't about luck. It's about following principles that never go out of style. Because at the end of the day, money doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about your actions. And so if you're serious about building wealth, drop the phrase stealth wealth in the comments to let me know you're done playing by broke rules. And if you want to go even deeper, watch my next video right here, where I'll show you the hidden money habits that the rich use every single day to multiply their wealth. Just click or tap the video on the screen now, and we'll see you in the next one.